If you're betting on a stock, sometimes the question you need to ask yourself isn't what can go right, but what could potentially go wrong. Here, I'm going to share a clip from Antonio Linares where he's dropped some gems on his thought process behind Palantir, AMD, and some comparisons to Nvidia. Check this out.
This is an instance of the innovator's dilemma, and it happens a lot in technology, right? So when you guys may have seen me when I have a position that's doing well, one of the things I'm doing a lot is looking for potential innovators' dilemmas to the company that I'm holding in question. And, many times you see mirages, effectively, you see ghosts and they're not real. And then sometimes you see stuff that's very real. So the thesis over the past 5 years has been an instance, I would say, of the innovator's dilemma. And it's very much materializing now. So if you want to compete with AMD, you have to go through the same motion that they've gone through to iterate on their chiplet platform. And it's now, like when I say it's exponentially harder to disrupt Palantir because they went through 20 years of iterating on their digital twin platform and now they're productizing exponentially. So with every linear step in productization, it gets logarithmically harder to emulate the product and the platform is, and especially so as it becomes a network of ontologies now. So with this company, it's very much the same. It's, maybe it takes a few years in the abstract to get chiplets right, but then to get chiplets right for a bunch of, for a growing volume of specialized workloads is very hard, right? So it's, try getting chiplets right for one thing. That's hard enough on its own, but try doing it for AI, for data center GPUs, try doing it for CPUs as well in the data center side, try doing it for AI PCs, try doing it for AI at the edge, try doing it for gaming. Doing so simultaneously for all of these verticals is just very, very hard. It's a platform that these guys have been investing in quietly for a long time over the past decade, and it's just not going to be easy to catch up with them now. So what we have, as I was saying, is a platform that prints personalized chips at a marginal cost and is taking on several multi-trillion-dollar AI opportunities at the same time. Only one has to work for this company to go up 10 to 20x in value. I believe the odds are fairly high that a bunch of these opportunities actually work out. And so I think we're looking at a highly, highly asymmetric investment over the next 5 to 10 years, regardless of the labels that people are putting on this, talking in the abstract about AI inference, OpenAI, Sam Altman. In relative terms, I don't really care about any of that. It's all about the backdrop of exponentially more compute demand over the next decade and how, on a first principles basis, AMD is so uniquely suited to cater for it in a way that's actually quite hard to replicate now.
Palantir's 2 decades of building digital twins creates exponential barriers that get stronger with every new customer. Antonio explains it's exponentially harder to disrupt Palantir because they went through 20 years of iterating on their digital twin platforms and now they're productizing exponentially. So with every linear step in productization, it gets logarithmically harder to emulate the product and the platform, and especially so as it becomes a network of ontologies. Here's what makes it so hard to compete with them. Palantir has spent 20 years learning how to build digital twins across dozens of different industries. They've worked with defense contractors, manufacturers, healthcare companies, financial service firms, and government agencies, to name a few. Each customer taught them something new about how to deploy these systems in the real world. That knowledge can't be bought or copied quickly. Even if a computer raised billions of dollars and hired smart people, they'd still need years of real customer experience to learn what Palantir already knows. You can't skip the learning process because the knowledge comes from actually solving problems for real companies, not from theory or research labs. But here's where it gets even better for Palantir. Antonio says with every linear step in productization, it gets logarithmically harder to copy them. This means that each new customer makes Palantir a little bit better, but it makes it way harder for competitors to catch up. When Palantir learns something from a manufacturing customer, they can apply that learning to the next 10 manufacturing customers much faster. But a competitor starting from zero has to learn everything from scratch with their first customer, then their second, then their third. The network of ontologies part is a real game changer. Right now, Palantir sets up digital twins for each company, but they're moving towards connecting these digital twins so they can talk to each other. Once that happens, companies will need to be on Palantir's platform just to do business with their partners and suppliers. It's like how you need email to do business, not because email is fancy, but because everyone else uses it. The network effect makes the moat even stronger. Think about what this means for competition. A startup trying to compete with Palantir would need to 1. Spend 20 years learning what Palantir already knows, 2. Convince customers to switch away from a platform that's getting better every day, and 3. Somehow build a network when all the companies are already connected on Palantir's platform. That's basically impossible. The only way to compete would have been to have started 20 years ago. This is why Antonio talks about the innovator's dilemma. Usually in tech, new companies disrupt old ones with better technology, but Palantir built their advantage through accumulated knowledge and network effects, not just technology. You can't disrupt accumulated knowledge, you have to earn it over time. You can't disrupt network effects. The more people who join, the more valuable it becomes for everyone. The exponential productization Antonio mentions means Palantir is entering the growth phase where all those years of hard work pay off. They spent 20 years building capabilities slowly. Now they can deploy those capabilities across hundreds of companies quickly because they've already solved the hard problems. That's when revenues and profits start growing fast, which is exactly what we're seeing with Palantir's recent numbers. It appears Palantir has built an unbreakable moat through 20 years of iteration. AMD is doing the exact same thing with chips, and it's creating similar exponential barriers to competition. AMD's decade of building chips across multiple workloads simultaneously creates barriers competitors can't overcome. Antonio draws the parallel. If you want to compete with AMD, you have to go through the same motion that they've gone through to iterate on their chip platform. Try getting chips right for one thing, that's hard enough, but try do it for AI, for data center GPUs. Try doing it for CPUs in data centers. Try doing it for AI at the edge. Try doing it for gaming. Doing so simultaneously for all these verticals is very, very hard. It's a platform these guys have been investing in quietly for a long time over the past decade, and it's just not going to be easy to catch up with them now. This is the same exponential moat concept as Palantir, just applied to chip making instead of software. Here's what AMD is becoming nearly impossible to compete with. Building good chips for one use case is already super hard. You need the right design, the right manufacturing process, the right software to run on the chips, and years of testing and iteration. Most chip companies focus on one thing and try to be the best at that one thing. But AMD has been quietly building chips for multiple completely different use cases at the same time. AI training chips for data centers, AI inference chips for edge computing, regular CPUs for servers, gaming GPUs, and chips for personal computers. Each of these markets has totally different requirements. Gaming needs fast graphics. AI training needs massive parallel processing. Edge AI needs power efficiency. Server CPUs need reliability and multitasking. When you learn how to solve problems in one area, that knowledge helps you in other areas. When AMD figures out how to make chips more power efficient for edge AI, that knowledge helps them make better gaming chips too. When they learn how to handle massive data flows for AI training, it helps them design better server CPUs. Each vertical makes every other vertical better. NVIDIA dominated AI training chips in data centers, but they don't have AMD's experience in edge computing, gaming, or CPU design. New startups might have smart ideas, but they don't have a decade of product experience across multiple markets. That accumulated knowledge is AMD's moat, just like Palantir's 20 years of experience is their moat. Antonio said AMD has a platform that prints personalized chips at marginal cost. This means they've built underlying technology that lets them create specialized chips for different uses without starting from zero each time. It's like having a recipe book where each new recipe is easier because you already know the basic cooking techniques. This platform approach is what makes the moat exponential. Each new chip they design makes the next one easier to design, but only for them. The competitive dynamics are brutal for anyone trying to catch up. Let's say a competitor wants to challenge AMD. They need to spend decades building expertise across multiple chip types, invest billions in R&D across all these verticals, get real customers in each vertical to learn what actually works, and somehow compete with AMD while AMD keeps getting better every year. That's basically impossible unless you start a decade ago. Antonio's investment thesis is powerful. He's saying a platform taking on several multi-trillion-dollar AI opportunities at the same time. Only one has to work for the company to grow 10 to 20x in value. He believes the odds are fairly high that a bunch of these opportunities actually work out. Because AMD built capabilities across multiple huge markets, AI training, AI inference, gaming, data center computing. They don't need to win everything. Winning just 2 or 3 of these markets makes the investment massively successful. AMD is likely to win in several of these markets because their platform advantage compounds. The learning from one market helps them compete in others. The scale from multiple markets gives them more money to invest in R&D. The customer relationships in one vertical opens doors in other verticals. It's a flywheel that keeps spinning. The connection to Palantir is perfect. Both companies spent a decade plus building capabilities that can't be copied quickly, but are now entering the productization phase where growth accelerates. Both benefit from exponential advantages where each step forward makes them stronger while making competitors weaker. And both are positioned in massive markets with exponentially growing demand. Antonio's final point drives it home. It's all about exponentially more compute demand over the next decade and how AMD is so uniquely suited to cater for it in a way that's actually quite hard to replicate now. Just like Palantir is uniquely suited to own digital twins because of their 20-year head start, AMD is uniquely suited to provide AI chips across all use cases because of their 10-year multi-vertical platform development. The moats are real, the growth is coming, and the competition is going to find it hard to catch up. If you found this video of value, why not consider hitting subscribe? Cheers.